Hi guys, so this video is a little bit off topic, but I just had like almost a crazy month of health anxiety, and I kind of just thought I would just talk you through what's been going on with me health anxiety wise. I don't know if it's going to bring you comfort maybe to hear, maybe you'll be able to relate to something that I'm saying, but sometimes I just think talking about health anxiety and sharing stories makes it feel a bit less overwhelming when we're experiencing health anxiety, because I know for me, hearing other people's stories does help me, and looking back at my own sort of, sounds weird, but looking back at sort of moments where I've been worried about something. I did put a video on when it was about a year and a half ago, when I was worried about something in my throat, that I was worried about a cancer. And when I watch that back now, and now I know what I know, that I'm fine, and I had a test and it was nothing, it does bring me some reassurance. So hopefully this weird month that I've had health anxiety wise brings you some comfort. So it kind of was weird, like in July I had a few weeks off and I was exercising more, and it kind of all started with my joints. So this is the thing. I kind of feel like, how do some people never go to the doctors? I had this conversation with some friends recently who had never had a blood test, but I just feel like the issue with health anxiety is there's always something, and there's almost nearly more times there's something than there's not. But I don't know if it's like a me thing, or is it a health anxiety thing, like noticing things more, being hyperactive, being hyper aware of everything. I think it's maybe a mixture of those things. But it started with, I was jogging and I was running more, and I got up to doing 6K. I was so proud of myself. And then my knee just like wouldn't run as much. Like it was like painful. Like I was limping around the house, and probably just my trainers or whatever, but I was linking it to maybe like, is it my PPIs, or maybe do I need to be taking supplements for my joints? And then I got on like some weird sort of Google about supplements and things like that. Then I was kind of like stopping exercising for a little bit, because then my wrists suddenly went. I was doing like a body pump, and then my wrists still, like I wasn't having a health anxiety moment about this. I didn't think my joints were some kind of, disease that was a serious thing, but it was just weird. This kind of, I think, sparked everything else that's happened over the last month. But I was doing like a plank, and like I still struggle to do a few press ups when I used to do like press ups and stuff at the gym all the time, and like I couldn't even lift like the sort of the I don't know what it's called, the weights, but not the free weights, the kind of like, I don't know what I'm saying, but the machine weights, I couldn't lift them up because it was hurting my wrist, and it's this one that still kind of hurts. So I probably just sprained it, but I think that. And then what happened was I fell off my bike, and it wasn't a serious fall, but it made me realise I'm always going to wear my helmet forever, because I've got a bike for my birthday, and I've been cycling around like la 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 la. And then I fell off, and I really hurt my leg so much that my hand here still hurts, like it's still a bit sprained. My wrist did hurt as well, which was great because it was already hurting anyway, and my knee, which was already hurting. And then my leg sort of swelled up for days, and I was limping around. I couldn't put my heel down properly. And then this was when I convinced myself that I had a blood clot. Like I convinced myself that I had a blood clot, which was so fun because I was flying on the Sunday. This happened like in the week, and I was flying, and I suddenly just freaked out because I just felt like I was having a blood clot. Like all of the symptoms came to me having a blood clot. It was like a swollen leg. It was hot, I think hot to touch. Everything that I was reading on Google felt like what this was. So I got on it's the Google, isn't it? That's the issue. And then I got on all of these stories on Reddit of people who were like, just go to A&E, because if you don't go to A&E, I know so-and-so who, I wish was still here if they didn't if they went to A&E just to check that they don't have a blood clot because it's a silent killer. And as soon as I heard these stories and that phrase, the silent killer, I freaked out. So I called 111. I don't know what the equivalent in other countries is, but I called 111, which is kind of like a navigator to tell you sort of what level of care do you need to go to a pharmacy, a GP, blah blah blah. But sometimes they're a bit hypersensitive, which doesn't help if you've got health anxiety. And they were like, you need to go to A&E now. So I didn't go to A&E at first. I was like, okay, it's fine. And then I went the next day and I was sat in A&E for about 12 hours, which wasn't fun. And I actually had to go in the end. So I had a blood test and I never found out what the results of that blood test was because I had to go. I had something on and I was like limping around from Salford. And then what happened? And then I was still freaked out the next day. And then I went to my parents and I was flying the next day and I was just terrified. I was just convinced that I'm going to get on this plane, arrive in Germany where I was going for work, and I was going to get there and I was going to have just screwed up like completely from the stories that I was hearing. So I went to the MRI in Manchester and they did like this. They've got the A&E, but then they've got it a bit better there at the MRI. They also have this urgent care unit. And it's hard because in my head, I felt embarrassed being there and I had like imposter syndrome. But then also it was this contrast of, this is rational and this is completely irrational because, you know, people were telling me on the phone, 111 told me to go to A&E. Like Google was telling me to go to A&E logically. And then I felt like I shouldn't be there, but then I had to be there and I had to get checked out and I couldn't think of anything else. Very stressful. And then luckily I saw a doctor in the end who really reassured me, did loads of checks on my leg. Because this is a funny thing, I watched a YouTube and it was like a test to see if you're going to have a blood clot. And like I did this like thing on my leg, I forgot what it was, sort of like some sort of reflex thing. And it was like conclusive that I had a blood clot according to this video, which freaked me out. So this doctor, who was great, just reassured me completely and said, just for your flight, you know, wear some flight socks, blah, blah, blah. So I got some flight socks anyway, I felt quite ridiculous wearing the flight socks, but I wore the flight socks. Because I did have a swollen leg, to be fair, and he did say that if, you know, there was a higher chance of blah, blah, blah happening, but nothing did. It was fine. All was well, and I didn't have a blood clot, and my leg has recovered now, so I'm not limping around everywhere. Then, so I fell off my bike, then I was worried about the blood clot, then I got back from Germany. I was there for like Monday to Friday. I got back on the Friday, and I just suddenly had diarrhea, like really bad diarrhea for like a few days. And then I was expecting it to go away because, you know, diarrhea normally finishes after like 2-3 days, or it's like a day thing. But it got to the point where it'd been like 10 days when I'd have like diarrhea, and I just suddenly had to go to the toilet. Like I just had to go. My bowels are really, really weird, and I saw a bit of blood in my bowels. And rationally now, I know that was probably because I was going to the toilet so much. But in my head, I just convinced myself that something was wrong. So again, health anxiety spiraled. I really was freaked out. And I was like, I need to get this sorted now. And I wanted it to be some sort of diarrhea, some sort of stomach bug, some sort of food poisoning, because that never sparks my health anxiety. I know that everyone else gets like maybe worried by different things, but for me, it was like some sort of cancer. I just made the dots aligned. And I think because I'm already so hyper-focused after the blood clotting and after everything falling off my bike and after the joints, and then looking around for my PPIs and checking that supplements and all of this stuff, I was just hyper aware. And then I was like, so this is a funny thing. So I kind of don't know. I was getting this pain in my belly on the left side, and I've told the GP about this since. And I was like, I don't know if this is like something I'm creating in my head, or if this is an actual pain because I'm focusing on something. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a meditation. And this, I'm not a meditator. I don't know what the phrase is. I'm not a meditation leader in any way. I've no qualifications. But there's an exercise that I did in CBT where you kind of like create. It's a meditation, but I do this myself sometimes, and it's almost like creating body sensations. And it's knowing that you can sometimes create them feelings yourself in your body by hyper focusing, almost like a body scan when you're doing a meditation and you do a body scan, almost like that. So I want to do this because this is what helped me in this moment. And I'm gonna do one for YouTube. I'm not, as I said, a meditation leader, but I hope that it sort of helps in some way. I've already filmed it actually, but I've not put it on YouTube yet. A bit scared. I thought I would do this video to explain why first, but I ended up going to A&E again. Yay, I love it. Love using the resources. Because 111 told me that I needed to urgently go to A&E because there was blood in my stool. And I was going to Rhodes again. I was going away, and I was like, I don't want to be on holiday, which I've been looking forward to for ages, which was the best week ever. But I didn't want to go on holiday having health anxiety. I was like, I need to get this resolved, like imminently. So I ended up getting a urine test, a stool test, and I had a blood test in the end. And so it kind of went away. So I was kind of fine when I went on holiday. And then I got the results for the stool test while I was on holiday. This luckily kind of reassured me in a way. I'm going to get the name of what it was called. It was, what was it? So I don't know what the name. I can't find the name, but I got a text saying that there was some kind of bacteria in my, like a word that I've never heard before. Like I've never stumbled across this in my health anxiety rambles. Like it's some kind of food poisoning basically. And I was like, okay, that explains it. So they found some bacteria, blah, blah, blah. Then, so I get back on my holiday, and I've not really been having diarrhea, but because like my bowels had felt a little bit strange. I have still been going to the toilet a little bit more than I have before, like TMI. And I always think it's good to get things checked anyway. But obviously, for someone with health anxiety, that means you run the risk of hyper focusing and getting very anxious and feeling very overwhelmed. That you jump ahead to the worst scenario. And I went back to the GP and kind of just said that I'm kind of getting the symptoms still a little bit, and he's given me a course of antibiotics that I didn't take, so I kind of just thought like I don't really care about the symptoms. I just want to make sure that it's not something really bad, if that makes sense. So and he sent me for a blood test for that and sort of my PPIs, because I wanted to just know like how everything's doing. And then I got a message today saying that there's like an abnormality in my liver, something that I didn't even wasn't even worried about, wasn't even on my mind. And he said basically in the message, he just went, nothing to worry about, but just contact back in a few weeks, and then we'll do another blood test. Then I think he said 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then we'll have another blood test about the liver. But I'm not spiraling or anything at the moment, but I was just like, come on. Like I did Google a little bit, but I'm just avoiding it because there's nothing I can do until I guess I have that next blood test in a few weeks. On top of that, my mum, TMI for my mum, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind me telling the story. This was this week as well, while I was kind of like still feeling that cloud that I might have mentioned before, that health anxiety cloud that was going on. I was with my mum, and she basically had a test of her ovaries in July, and she's got like a cyst, but she's had it for a while and it's been fine. She had a call back from the test. They said there's nothing wrong. She had a call from the receptionist of the gynecologist going, you need to be seen urgently within 48 hours by a gynecologist based on your test results. And my mum, completely panicked. Me, completely panicked for her. And then she gets there. I was literally shaking a little bit because I was like, this sounds really serious, the way it was worded on the phone. And she gets there and it was a mistake. It was a mistake! Oh my God, like the relief, but also like what? Mercury being in retrograde or something. But it's been, after like a year of like okay health anxiety, it's been a weird month. I think the positive of it is it's made me really realise I want to come off my PPIs and come off my omeprazole. If you know my history and know my story, you'll know a little bit more of why I'm on them, because of my hernia, and that I'm taking this iqoro device. You might be following that journey as well. I'm gonna post an update with this video. But yeah, what? Yeah, please tell me if you've had like a weird month yourself. Maybe there's something in the stars or the moon, like what's not in the health anxiety people's favour this month, but but I feel okay now. I'm in good spirits. I'm not feeling anxious about anything despite this liver abnormality, but I feel okay. I'm going away for a couple of weeks for work, so when I get back, then I'm just hoping that nothing's on my mind while I'm away and everything's fine. Yes. But I'm going to be practicing my good habits, and I'm going to do a separate video, but I'm also starting writing a little thing about health anxiety, and I'm hoping that I can share it with you eventually. I don't know if it's going to be a book yet or something else. It's kind of like a mixture of stories / advice / sort of like concepts, like for example, how can some people never go to the GP, and just sort of different ideas. Yeah, this video has been very long, my apologies. My name's John, thanks for checking out my channel and subscribe.